cabinet is not interested, well, that means the whole initiative hit a snag. What does this mean for elections? Given that the judiciary has called for reforms in elections to improve the electoral hygiene of the country, and several other activists on the political landscape have also called for an improvement in our electoral systems to ensure free, fair, and credible elections. That will be the point of our discussion tonight with our frontliner, the government chief executive of the Media Center, and Honorable Salam Musumba, a very seasoned politician from the PFF, and Honorable Ssemujju Ibrahim Nganda, Member of Parliament, Kira Municipality, and the spokesperson of PFF. Good to have you, Honorable Ssemujju.
Thank you.
I believe you are 100 million richer with the bounty that fell yesterday.
I don't think there is anybody who will host here and you ask him, do you have 100 million? And he will say yes, and you know it. But I don't have it.
So you never got that call in the middle of the night, rather in the evening, to go and pick some?
No, the story is around Parliament. Very unfortunate story, not surprising, because if money is given, it will not be the first time. Maybe what I haven't established is the motive. I earlier told the journalist I have been in Parliament as a journalist, as an MP. So the giving of money, I think, officially started with the 7th Parliament during the consideration of constitutional changes. And I think we would never have known if the ones distributing at that time, I think Anifa Kawoya, Opumwesige, Ida Mehanje, somebody else.
At Mosakot?
Yes. But the reason we got to know is because they refused to give Honorable Ssemujju, who was not supportive of the removal of term limit. But yet how many beneficiaries confirmed. The Honorable Tafiri said, for me, I drank mine. So people had given money denied. And because there had been such coup who broke the story, there was still some doubt until when one by one started admitting that for me they gave me. So that was the first time. But I mean, since then, Museveni has been giving MPs money to change the constitution, to remove age limit. I think he gave them about 200 million shilling. But there was also money given to us officially. We were given money to go and consult on the marriage and divorce bill, 5 million, which we returned. We were given 29 million to go and consult on the removal of age limit itself. There was also another money for NADS, I don't remember what it was, that we go and consult. Clearly the money was not for consultation, because the argument some of us who returned it made was that we are facilitated with the mileage to return to our constituents at least twice a month. Of course, we never go back, with the exception of a few of us who stay in the constituencies we represent. So giving money is not a new story about Parliament. Corruption that is official sometimes is very easy to establish.
Okay, is there any
because
credibility?
Is
there a bit of credibility in
because
reports?
there is a trace when it is official corruption. Unofficial corruption is not easy to establish, because those involved, the two parties, will deny, and it is your word against theirs. Those
so you're among the deniers?
I am not an RM, and I have not seen any opposition or heard who says I received, or that's why today we are writing a petition to the IGG, inviting the IGG to come and investigate. So we did not receive money. The NRMs have said they did not receive money. But in the past, it has been the same denial. That's the point I wanted to make. That when it is unofficial corruption, that sort of routing, nobody will come and say, I received the money. When it is official, it is easy to establish because money has now been formally sent to MPs' accounts. So that's where we are with that story. It's a moral issue. I haven't established if money was given, what the motive was, either because of the earlier decisions Parliament has taken. But those who broke the story said we have a UPDF Amendment Act that is on its way to Parliament. One of the aims of that law is to restore the military courts. I don't know really if that is the motive or there's something else.
If, and hypothetically asking, if you got that money,
yes,
would you return it?
I remember in the last Parliament, I refused to return money for COVID, but it had been officially given. I refused
20.
and
Was it
20
20?
million. I was forced to return. But I was able to tell the public that I received and I refused to return. But we were put under pressure, but that was money officially given. I have never received unofficial money, so you can't ask me if, because I would not receive. But the one that is officially given, everybody gets. When you go the one of COVID, I said I am not returning because I have people who are looking for it in my constituency. But Museveni said you must return it, and what he did, he went behind our back and gave NRM MPs 40 million.
Do you think MPs who never appended their signatures to the resolution should be crucified?
I don't think so. You see, we need to understand. I earlier told journalists when I was chief opposition whip in the last Parliament, the 29 million, we were about 61 opposition MPs. And I appeared with, first of all, we had agreed that all of us would appear at a press conference and return the money, because it had been officially given to us. And I read the group. We withdrew money, went to a press conference, and after the press conference we said we will return the money to Bank of Uganda, because when we returned the 5 million, Parliament put it to use. We said no, this one we must return to Bank of Uganda and get a general receipt. What surprised me, even some of the colleagues with whom we addressed the media did not return the money. After the press conference, they walked to the basement in their car, put the money, and disappeared. That's why when we were in Mbale, and they brought a list of those who had returned the money, I was also learning for the first time that out of 61 MPs opposition, only 16 had returned the money. It's very tempting. But the one that is unofficial, corruption unofficially given, it's very difficult because everybody will deny. So you have no basis of saying, Ssemujju, did you receive, why don't you return? Because there is no evidence. But even the one where there was evidence, people did not return it.
I want to pick your reaction on the haste, what has been described as a haste at Parliament. The House has become now a house of deals. That last evening, a group of MPs were called and they shared the loot.
No, I wouldn't classify it as haste. Haste would mean that they went by themselves probably. But anyway, I don't think it was yesterday.
The other day.
I came from Kapelbyong, I think on Monday or Tuesday, and I bumped into an NRM MP from Panisa, maybe like 6 p.m. And he quickly left me telling me he had been called to Parliament to receive money. I asked him for what. He said, no, we had requested the government, the president, to bail us out because we have dates. And this is not something we can hide. MPs have asked the president to bail them out.
Across board, or NRM MPs?
No, across board. I know a former FDC MP from Soga who was bailed 150 million by the president. His house, he had mortgaged his house. It was an election. And the president, being the magnanimous person he is, he did bail this FDC MP. I see him running around now in a nope and this kind of thing. But that happens. So, we have had these things before, but like Ssemujju, you can even see Honorable Ssemujju taking it toward around speaking in tongues. That means there's something he knows, but for good public relations with his colleagues, he doesn't want to say.
I don't know.
he doesn't want to. So, but anyway, that's where we are. It's not unusual, particularly now, when people are facing the pressures of election. You have been a parliamentary reporter like I have, like Ssemujju has been. We all know that when people are going towards election, it is maybe 50% of MPs, most likely 50%, don't even have 100,000 on their pay slip. They have borrowed against their salary, they have borrowed against their allowances, they have even borrowed against their gratuity. Partly because of taking on roles that are not theirs. For example, I really think if MPs collectively put a stand and say, the first year of Parliament, we want the government to deal with ambulances. We don't pass this budget unless you buy ambulances for general hospitals. Second year, you say, Mr. Government, we are not passing the budget unless you fund primary education sufficiently. And so on. So they have taken on responsibilities which are not theirs, and so it brings pressure on them. They have taken on barriers of their constituents, which is not theirs. They have taken on paying school fees, which is not theirs. And so some of them are suffering from a burden, genuine, but not theirs, which they should give to the government. And the president has been warning them, please don't carry constituencies on your head. The president tells them, me as the president, I will give money, but I will give money from government resources. That's why the president can ask for, you call it donations, because he doesn't go to sell his cows to support.
As we speak, there is a list of MPs who came out to condemn the act,
no,
and even appended their signatures.
You want to believe them? You want to believe those MPs? They are doing a katemba. I don't want to believe them, even if they have received. It is unlikely that they will say we have received. Look at this thing of in the accountability committees. You have been a parliamentary reporter. Yes. You know that a parliamentary in the accountability committees, MPs and particularly the leadership of those of those committees extort. They harangue accounting officers and the opposition-led committees. So don't believe in what those opposition MPs are doing.
It's window dressing.
Yeah, they are pulling the wool on our eyes, on our face, so our eyes, so that we don't see. But since we don't have hard evidence, it would be unfair to condemn them as if we have the evidence. But knowing what goes on, you and I who have been in Parliament, no. I mean, last year we had the Agora exhibition, even where huge monies were passing through. You saw everybody was tight-lipped. You remember the case of which brought Honorable Mpuga was isolated and hounded. But you remember even Honorable Mpuga himself initially said, I wish I could receive 500 million. Until the spokesperson of Parliament came and said, no, actually this money was passed in the budget and was received. It later transpired that actually Parliament borrowed from its own circle, its own savings account for members of Parliament to pay this casino to the commissioners, and reimbursed, paid back the loan. It was at that point that Honorable Mpuga admitted, and all the other commissioners, but he had already been isolated and fought by his party. You remember the case of Honorable Ssemujju of going out and spending fewer days. It was when Agora exposed and he went back to bring back the balance of the money, and so on and so forth. So the opposition MPs are going around with this list. I think it is pulling the wool on our eyes. I don't want to buy it.
Honorable Salam, thank you for joining us. And
thank you.
What is your interpretation of how this story about the 100 million is unfolding?
It's actually supposed to be 200 million.
Sorry?
The bargain was 200 million. And so 100 might have been deposited. And you don't need to look far, just look at the happiness of the recipients and how they manage themselves. So they expose themselves as guilty. They're guilty as accused. This character of politics in Parliament is a great disaster to democracy and the nation, because every subsequent Parliament becomes wasara. You see, it has become a house of transactions, transactional parliaments. And it is the elder, the seniors that have poisoned largely the otherwise honorable job of representing people and offering leadership in a country. And so it's obscene, it's illegal, it's cruel, and it takes away from the public vital resources. Each member of parliament, if they've received 100 million, each of them is a parish, because the parish development model received 100 million. And each member of parliament is receiving 100 million. So, if you do the mathematics, one MP is equal to a parish.
Do you think the MPs who have come out with a resolution condemning this money are genuine?
I think they are
Do you give them a benefit of your doubt?
I would want to, but because I know them quite well, I doubt that they mean it. They are doing a PR job. I'd like to see more evidence on that.
In your time, it was 5 million.
Yes, it was 5 million to people that agreed to amend their signatures to a constitutional amendment.
Today, it's gone up to 100 million shillings.
I wasn't one of them, but the list of those that received are very clear. I do remember that money was coming from under the table and being thrown on top of the table for all those that were eligible to receive it. Of course, they have multiplied, but if you went by the dollar, it's still not worth it.
Well, virtually, we're joined by...
Maybe, Simon, we could just ask the voters, the public, to ask for their pound of flesh when the MPs go back. That would be a good way to pay their back.
They should.
But is 100 significant, really?
It is a lot of money. When you aggregate it, it's 50 billion shillings.
Well,
that is a lot of money. For communities
Mayor,
that actually don't have.
The Lord Mayor Erias Lukwago now joins us virtually from his residence. Lord Mayor, good to have you and a very good evening. First, what's your take on the 100 million bounty at Parliament?
Just like my colleagues, the Honorable Salam, Musumba and Ssemujju said, this phenomena is not new. Cash bonanza in the House is a ritual which happens in any given, tenure of Parliament, especially around this time when we are going into a new election cycle. And I remember our time in the 8th Parliament, it was 20 million. And there will always be a reason to sanitize it. For our case, the 20 million, they dubbed it facilitation for monitoring NADs. And I remember posing a question to the people who were giving out the money that, look, for my case, I represent Kampala Central. And to to the best of my knowledge, there is not even a single NADS activity at that time that had been brought to my attention. So they just said, you just take the money and you will account for it. Whatever accountability you bring, it will be accepted. Obviously, we rejected the 20. It was very big money at that time, but that's how they sanitized it. The first time we had gotten an opportunity to, I think, to debunk this official corruption Ssemujju has been talking about was due to Jukwatako. I think this was a very good, it was a golden opportunity because this time round they did not deny it. Just like now they are denying the 100 million, they denied the 40 million, but the 29 for Tojukwatako was very clear. Unfortunately, that opportunity was squandered by the Constitutional Court because they rationalized it as, facilitation for consultation. But for intents and purposes, it was bribery. It's very, very unfortunate that it is happening. Personally, I commend those who have raised the red flag, those who have blown off the lead. Because otherwise it could just be covered up and then they go away with the loot unnoticed.
But at the end of the day, do you believe that there should be collective responsibility over this money? Do we say that Parliament got into this bonanza, or we blame the individuals?
You see, there's no way they can take collective responsibility even with those who have not gotten the money. Obviously, there is a credibility crisis for the entire House. And when there is an indictment, it doesn't discriminate. All of them are indicted. Those who have taken the money, those who have not shared in the loot, it's unfortunate. That's what is going to happen. And just like Salam said, it's been transactional. I mean, the relationship between Museveni and Parliament is now transactional. And they have also learned the tricks of arm twisting Museveni. Every time there are those hot matters which he wants to push down the throat of Parliament, when he wants to stampede them, they know how they can arm twist him to get this money. Like for this particular matter, they know it's the issue of, bringing back or resuscitating rather the General Court Martial with the mandate to deal with the civilians who are considered to be accomplices to serving soldiers. That one, they know it's a do or die matter for Mr. Museveni, that he wants it like no any other business. So they know it's a matter where they could twist him and they get money from him. You remember even the other day when he tried to blow hot, and then he was huffing and puffing and said now he had gotten evidence he was going to rein in these errant MPs who are extorting money from agencies. You remember how he directed the arrest of Mawanda, the arrest of Yusuf Mutemburi, the arrest of Ssemujju, but that's where it ended. So it's now business as usual, which is really very, very unfortunate.
Well, thank you very much. If I could finally end this with you, Honorable Ssemujju Ibrahim Nganda, what do you know about this questionable money, and what don't you know?
The stories are as you hear them. Because, as I said at the beginning of the show, money that is unofficially given, those who are suspected to be giving will deny, and the recipients will deny. Because it is easy to do so.
But there was some bit of ransoming, that the president was ransomed for MPs to pass the coffee bill.
I'm not even sure that that is the reason, because I don't know of any meeting between Museveni and MPs where MPs are not asking money or favors. whether it is informal meetings, whether it is NRM meetings, whether it is because that's the relationship between Museveni and politicians. I have told my own story. When we were with Ofono Pondo in the State House to record the Capital Gang, Miguel meets me in the corridor. He hugs me for seeing right. Because they know when you go to State House, and that's the reason I remember Lukwago to say this. There was a time Mr. Museveni was dying to talk to Lukwago at the beginning of his administration as a mayor. And one of the reasons Lukwago refused was that there is no you're going to theater of bribery. Because if you enter State House and you came out, everybody will think you have come with something. That's the culture Museveni has established there. So in all meetings I have known as a journalist and as an MP, official meetings between Museveni and MPs are meetings to beg from the one who controls the resources of the country. That's why I don't know this particular transaction, whether it is for something done or it is for something that will be done.
Is it time Ugandans started asking or questioning the rationale behind classified budgets?
I did a minority report on supplementary schedule number 3. We have just approved the supplementary for this financial year, which ends in June. And in total, it brought the budget of State House, Museveni's budget, to 1 trillion. And one of the items in the Museveni budget for his residence is classified, which has gone now to 400 and something billion. I asked the MPs at the time we were processing this money, I needed someone to tell me what was classified about a residence. Because the president operates an office, there is the president's office with a budget. There are also agencies that are under president's office like ISO and ESO with a budget. You have classified under defense, sometimes classified expenditure, sometimes classified equipment. And when you look at the law establishing State House, the Presidential, Vice President and the Prime Minister's Emolument Act, it does not assign the State House the sort of responsibility that they claim. And I remember I've kept making this argument. Once you make that huge amount of money available to a person, he will use it the way he likes it.
Thank you.
So you are President Simon in the State House. So you have 1 trillion shilling for your residence. One of the items under that 1 trillion is 400 classified. Really, you must be a fool to think that there is anything classified Museveni is doing with his wife at State House. This is not there. But that it's just doing politics.
Does the president come off as magnanimous, that each time MPs cry out to him, he'll always find a route?
First of all, there's the line in that vote for donations. Obviously, because of the things the president is doing, official and unofficial, and being the available president on almost every issue, people accost him. 2 days ago, a local leader, died in Kabaramaido. A former MP there called me and said, the president knows this person personally. With our politics here, we need the president to support. The person died of cancer in Murago here, and the family was stranded. And said, can you help us talk to the PPS or somebody so that the president is notified? I did. I'm not privy now, but I think some support was given just to help take that body. Now, there are those things that, yes, you may, the things I said about MPs, you may say it is something small, but that's the nature of the country the president is running. Then somebody will reach him with a problem. Somebody will reach the president with the problem, my child passed but can't pay tuition in Makerere or another university in the country. And the president will say, okay, PPS help us, or help out, or comptroller.
This money is purportedly off a supplementary
yes,
budget.
Now, the classified, first of all, classified is official in the government of Uganda. And it is spread in a number of entities and is audited by a specific committee of parliament. Maybe we should ask that committee of parliament, do they do a good job when State House, when Defense provides accountability for classified? Now, this particular president, let us just take what's going on in our northern neighbor, South Sudan. The president is doing a lot of errands. Sometimes that involves bringing different parties to Uganda. That money is not going to charge on the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. He may as well charge from that classified. He puts somebody in a safe house, for example, maybe a hotel, for a whole month. For example, right now we have people of Riek Machar who have run away. If you listen to the news, international news, they say they have fled. To where have they fled? President Museveni is a guarantor to the peace process in South Sudan. You could easily find that some of those leaders of Garang's faction, rather of Riek Machar's faction, could as well have been facilitated to come and seek refuge, but also facilitate consultations.
But,
will the president come to Ssemujju?
Oh, just a second. No. I think you're also now trying to sanitize
the
bad manner of the president.
No, I'm not sanitizing. I'm telling you, the president was told you people that we run countries as is, not as you would like it to be. So I'm telling you...
You have a duty to change them.
I'm telling you, but before you change the law, before you change the rules, there's a situation in your hand. The president will facilitate groups like those, either to come here or even to go to Cairo or to Nairobi, so that they are facilitated to reach some semblance of convergence on matters. There are issues in the Congo. The president is not going to ask probably Foreign Affairs. Maybe the Foreign Affairs people will say, our hands are tied, we cannot spend money on MPs from DR Congo who are helping us to make the people of Congo understand why Operation Shuja should go on, and so on and so forth. So there are many things that the president, even locally here, the president will use that money to fund certain activities. It is of course convenient for Honorable Ssemujju to say he's funding his politics. But for example, if the Honorable Ssemujjus have been falling on each other's neck within FDC, assuming one faction reaches the president and says, we are in this mess, help us out, what would he do? Certainly, he will handle. So because he says we must handle...
Which mess?
Yes, we must govern Uganda as is, not as you would want to be. So the president will use that classified. Now, is there room or possibility that there's abuse? Yes, it could be abused, either by the president himself or by the handlers. He gives duties to manage.
I want to shift to Honorable Salam. There is a lot of outrage from the public, of course, over this money, like it's always been. Don't you think the public is missing the bigger picture? They are looking more at the receiver, not the giver.
The whole transaction is bad. It distorts governance. And it distorts democracy. It distorts, actually it darkens the water in which we function and swim in as political leaders. Listening to OO, I think I should thank him for clarifying on how we are misgoverned, because it looks like the president is in charge of funding the whole region on our backs. that we must go without education, without health, for South Sudan to mess itself up.
Because he guaranteed on our behalf.
Yes.
No. You see,
the guarantee is your Ugandans are able to do trade. Your Ugandans are able to do trade in South Sudan. Your Ugandans are able to do trade in Congo.
Reciprocal. South Sudanese are here.
Yes, that's true.
they're in Kenya.
That's
They're
true.
in Kenya.
But if they are not able
We are in
to
Congo.
manage certain things,
We are
and
in
they ask
Congo
you to
rooting
manage.
gold worth.
I'm not aware about
3 trillion
I'm
shilling.
not aware about looting.
Listen,
If
we
you
are-
have
we
evidence,
cannot-
put it on
We are
table.
paying
cannot-
Congo. We are paying
we
Congo after
ca-
losing a case court in the International Court of Justice.
Yeah,
Yes.
In each of our budget, we are putting 70
Honorable Salam, you may
million.
You
proceed.
cannot condemn the people of Uganda to poverty because you are running errands. They should pick their bill. They are rich people, they have oil. South Sudan has oil. So why are we spending taxpayers' money on Sudan and on Congo and other things? This evening I was being told by the NRM Secretariat, the Director of Foreign Affairs, that when President Ruto's party visited here, they were offered to be trained in Chankwanzi and that the president would pick the bill. Please, come on. You cannot run down our lives for your PR on the continent. I mean, then it means that everybody from the continent is coming to beg from Museveni and he's dishing out our money. His first mandate is to the people of Uganda, the people of Kamulina Mwendwa, and the people of Nagongera and wherever. So please, you know better. I think before you retire, you would want your grandchildren to live in a viable country, in a viable democracy, a competitive country. We can no longer spend money. People are right to be enraged. Actually, they should fight. And their fight should be to take down all those guys that have received the 100
but none
million.
of them is acknowledging that they received. So the noise becomes empty.
Thieves never
They are
acknowledge.
shouting in the dark.
Listen, thieves never acknowledge. Do they? Classify them as thieves, because if you are privy to the
So does
video,
Ssemujju belong to the bunch?
if he has, yes,
But he says he hasn't.
he hasn't. But if he has, yes, he would belong to the thieves. That is very categorical.
Are you embarrassed by your parliament?
Certainly you feel bad when these things are around Parliament. I don't know how many people have asked me since this story came out, did you take the money? Please bring the money. It's very difficult to navigate stories like this because collectively we all suspect, and because there is no official record, the only response is to deny. And I don't think people are stupid that when you deny, they are going to believe it. And this story is going to remain the way it is. Because if it was official, where you can display your accounts, then you're going to be believed. But this story is that you MPs, all of you, were given 100 million shillings. So
Yeah, but do you think the institution of parliament, the leadership of parliament, has also thrown MPs under the bus by failing to come out to explain?
The trouble is that I don't think the public puts a lot of value on each one of us. And part of the problem is that even under these circumstances, those who are accused of giving and receiving, they will be the ones in the next parliament. The public has also let itself down because it puts no standards. There was a time we were discussing here bribery and patronage. And in the areas of Ankole and Chigezi, people go to a church and give 100 million. There was one, I think, who gave 200 million shilling. So you want to look for standards. People can only behave if they are subjected to certain standards, but all of us are not. In the constituencies where we are MPs, where I agree with Eyafunye Pondo, the things that we are individually asked to do, those who are asking us to do those things will themselves be happy that there is money MPs are splashing around. Otherwise, they should be the one running after MPs when they are bringing money. But they will be roaring red carpet. One time I went to a fundraising in Kasokoso, and I told the priest that I don't want to line up with the NRM MPs with money that they have rooted. So you create space for us where we put our money, and these ones who have rooted, because they may need more prayers than us. So their money needs to be cleaned before you, the church, accept it. So the society itself, I think, partly because of vulnerability, and I think it is intended by Museveni that you make people vulnerable at all levels, so they begin running to you for help. And Eyafunye Pondo will describe you as a magnanimous president who wants to be the one to take bodies to up country. I mean, you simply can't run the country like that.
To be fair to the leadership of Parliament, the Right Honourable Tayeba, who was presiding over the House, is on record saying no, as a House, as a Parliament, as an institution, we cannot rely on street rumors. And said he has not seen, first of all, Parliament has not given MPs that money, because parliamentary money officially is given on record. Second, said he had not received any information to that effect. Third, that he, as a member of Parliament, he had not received the money.
Have you seen this?
No,
have you seen the